Hi everybody. So this is a little bit part 2 of all the videos I wanted to do today. I was going to combine them to one, but then the first one was a bit long, talking about Unity and all that shit. So let's dive into some of the new stuff I've been working on for the last month. It's all very rough, but it's kind of cool. It is opening up a little bit more of the strategy to in the game and have some fun with that. So let's, without further ado, get into the game. I've already built a little default little settlement. So what's new? Well, first of all, when you're on the ground, I've been doing small stuff like that line that connects the tower I've selected to the information about the tower selection, which is underneath my portrait down there. Where's my hand? So there. When it stopped talking, so when I skip, it will show me all the relevant information in flow mode, but also what tower I've connected. You will also notice in the top right that it no longer says dominant faction. That's a word that was a bit normal, a bit too negative. I'm now just calling it aligned faction. So what faction are you aligned with? And that comes back to some of the strategy stuff that's going to be interesting in a bit. I don't have an aligned faction yet because, well, if we go to blue on blue, but you can see I'm mostly Monster, but I'm not big enough to be aligned. So let's see if we can do that. You have to build it up. Well, we've already seen the two-tiered stone towers for the people that have been gone for a long time. The second floor of you can build stone towers that have 2 floors, and what you get, either pie or square-shaped pieces, depends on the floor you're at. So second floors gives you pie-shaped pieces. Ground floors give you square-shaped rectangular pieces. That makes it a little bit more predictable, a little less fiddly to get what you want. And it also allows you to have stone towers that have these these combinations. So this is now an upper floor stone tower. I can remove that if you want. Oh, I need to fix that actually to make a list. So now I've removed that first floor. I can only go to the second floor, build some new how do you call it? Pie-shaped pieces. And the fact that get destroyed is actually an oversight on my part. When you destroy this upper floor, it shouldn't destroy the pie-shaped pieces. So that is a little bit of a few of the changes that happened just before I went on holiday, but most people might not have seen yet. When we go to the map, I'm still too small, but we'll expand eventually. See if we can get some. So let's fly around, see what we can do. Well, this is the middle area of the game, not available in the demo, but you can fly there. Some people have seen it. Oh, well, interesting. On the map, so major change. There is now named locations within a range, so the world's not fully filled in that. If you've played the Falconeer, you'll recognize some of these locations like Oberon's Reach or Redmouth. But Redmouth used to be a spiritual place with, sort of forge masters that, were into the mythical aspects of forging ores and alloys. They've, since the war, gone a little bit commercial. But there's also a place up here that's called the Dunkelbound Siege Reef Company. So things a bit post-war has, changed a lot. And things are slightly different. So let's go to Stargazer, which you can see is now a different icon. So that's kind of weird. That used to be a place for the Monster, featured in some of the storytelling of the Falconeer. It is no longer. We can see it up in the distance, slowly fading in. I don't know if YouTube showed it, but we'll see. There's a question mark there, and it's also inhabited, but it's not inhabited by the Monster. It's inhabited by the Imperials, and we can see. And this is all placeholder. We see some ships coming out, getting spawned. I forgot what these was named. Little Barracuda, I think. No, not Barracuda. Little airships, nimble airships from the Imperium, and some warbirds, Falconeers flying around, and we can have a chat with them. So this menu is completely new, At this point, there's a portrait of the guy. We don't have the voices, so he's not talking yet, but hopefully will get voiced. Major Domus Benedict. He's totally not aligned with us, because we're pretty much Mancer, on our way to being Mancer aligned, so that is very low, and he's not intimidated by us. So the intimidation number is based on how many units I have. I've just got my ship, and he's got a sizable force, so he's not afraid of whatever I'm gonna do. And those 2 bars which fill up, we'll go to another settlement with different outcome hopefully. They decide what options I have. At this point, I can't invite them to join because we're not aligned. I can't demand them anything because we're not at war. We don't need to negotiate a peace because we're not at war. But I can declare war with the entire faction. So I am going to rename all this stuff, add or remove. I'm thinking about maybe demanding a tribute if you are very intimidating and stuff like that. Just, it's a simple, let's call it a chill sort of a diplomacy screen. So this stuff is just about settlements. This stuff is, faction wide. You attack one of the imperial settlements, of course you're going to get a war with everybody. Let's do that. So now we're at war, and combos start, and they'll start attacking me. And this is the little Mancer surveyor. It has, I don't think it has a turret. It just has, it's got a single turret, but it's got homing missiles, which you can see, which are actually might be a little bit overpowered because they're absolutely wiping out those little blimps. The warbirds itself probably, I am getting hit quite badly, but the missiles is decently. Occasionally you see the warbirds doing a little barrel roll, which is just avoiding the missiles. This is just all the combat code from the Falconeer that worked for that game, which is, it's just fun. That's the intent. It's not a hardcore strategy game, but it's fun to watch these combats load. I don't know. Are there any turrets on here? Oh, we already saw. So obviously the balance for my Mancer Surveyor is way too good, so I shouldn't be able to do that. I should have built up my settlement and got some, but I just finished this stuff last week, so bear with me. Now the question mark pops back up, and I can have a chat, and they are fully intimidated now because I've taken away all their, and thus I can now demand their surrender. They're still not allowed, and yeah, and they've got a little angry text and a little bit of flavor. They also, you can just, ask them who they are. And now it's mine. And I can destroy it. It's got some unique, I hope to do more of that, some unique top pieces. Their towers are, just to make it, look cool. They've got a palace. With a queen in there. That's excellent.
Have ceased their aggression towards us.
Ooh, okay, so this is a bug I had, but so now we're getting into sort of a slightly more complex pieces. That settlement had a Imperial Empress assigned to it, which as a feature always makes the Mancer go to war with you. I hadn't thought about that. That is something I need to think about how I can make that not happen. Perhaps not add those as a commander for or something to be captured. But that's fun. So you get the entire settlement, including the commanders that are in there and their special abilities. And that was a hostile little encounter, totally unbalanced. But I now have that, and that's a new place. And that's how can, one of the other things that's now a thing is you don't have unlimited extractors. Well, look at here. Shouldn't come out of the mountain. Here's Oberon's Gate. Oberon's Reach, I think, well known from the Falconeer. This is the headquarters of the Mancer Order. Quite a sizable force. And we are 100% aligned. I guess I turned dominant the moment I had added that big settlement. It said you're now big enough, and you were very Mancer oriented. So we are aligned, and that gives you and it's actually shouldn't be this easy. I'm just, it's in how do you call it? Development mode. So this should all be quite a bit harder. There might be, might be a little bit of a quest, or you need this or that person before we join. But at the moment, it's just you're aligned, and it might keep it that way because I don't want a complex game. We can be allies, and now I have them as, and again, there is a war leader involved, and now I've got this settlement which I just need to hook up to my own. I'm not, some settlements might also give you the units that are guarding them, but I need to balance all that stuff out. But that is basically what I've been busy with.
You have no available captains on your roster. Find and
And you can see we're at war with the Imperium, so, well, for funsies, let's see if we can get destroyed. There's an Imperium random encounter. So there's lots happening. I'm going to skip back to my view. Here we are. So that is a little bit of the progress I've made in the last month or so. Just by adding that, you can see it has lots of impact on the existing mechanics that need to change or evolve. It will require some balancing. It's not intended to be a full strategy game, but once I fill out this world, there's quite a lot where it's not just random encounters, but you can go in, meet people, you can start or end a war rather than the system I had before, which was just unclear. It's very basic, declare war, declare peace, and there's a few options if you get aligned. That's the core system basically, and it will lead to hopefully a little bit of depth to the game. It is a major milestone in development because I wanted to add this because now the world is no longer your empty playground. There's other people there, and if you get into fights, they'll come attack you and stuff, and it'll makes your settlement so much more lively. There'll be wonders at the end if you capture all the a certain amount of imperial buildings. You get the option to get the imperial wonder or the pirate wonder or something. So there'll be some stuff to explore. It's still very civilization, not very story linear as it were, but it opens up for lots of cool stuff. I'm fiddling with it, and I'll keep you up to date with what gets added. And I hope what that opens up like a sort of a missing element when you play the demo, where you go, well, and what next? Well, here's what's next. You get to do that and explore, and all those units you grow out of your towers will have a purpose because they'll have to come with you while you intimidate people or go to war and stuff like that, or defend your place. It'll make it a bit realer. So, cheers for now. That's all the updates. I'll try and do them more often. And let me know in the comments what you'd like to talk about. I still have the agenda to do a lore cast. Just haven't gotten around to it. Anyways, cheerio.